man, what brings you here first and foremost to New York?
Oh man, I'm out on my book tour. You know, out here grinding this book, man. Just trying to get the word out, that everybody know what, and the information is in it is really like American history.
Right.
So I think that it's important that everybody at least take one look at it.
Okay.
Once in their lifetime. You know.
Right.
How can you not?
Right.
Know your history. You know, at least know your history or know about your history one time. Maybe maybe it ain't something you're gonna remember, but you should at least have heard of it one time. Right. Now, so now, you know, as I look at this, man, it's definitely something compelling as far as the cover and everything is captivating. The untold biography, right? Autobiography, right? Right.
Now, so when you say it's a must read, just a small caption, what should people be looking for? Well,
I mean, there's so much stuff in there, man. You know, I've been through so much in my life that there's so many different things that could be beneficial to so many different people at different points in their life. You know, I talk about when I wanted to be a gangbanger. You know, I talk about when I was a tennis player. I talk about my literacy. I talk about how I started selling drugs. I talk about my court case. I talk about my philosophy of dealing with money and how I took $125 and turned it into $3 million a day. So the book is loaded, man. It's just so many different areas that my life has touched on, and I believe that this book is a reflection of that time.
How long did it take you to write this?
It took me about 4 months, man. And 4 months when I was in prison, and then about another 3 months I got out when I was working with Kathy Scott.
Okay.
Kathy Scott took all my notes and made sense out of them. You know, I had a bunch of scribble on paper, on toilet tissue and napkins, and you know, and she took all that and compiled it into a time frame.
You know, Ross, you know, it's amazing, right? But this book has been out for about a year or so?
No, it's been out longer than that. It's been out about 2.5 years almost, I think. I took kind of like a hiatus on it. For about a year or two, where I just kind of like let it sit. You know, I had a nice little run, and then I got into something else. And then about 8 months ago, I was like, you know, ain't enough people read that book. You know, I mean, you know, the book has done well, you know, per se for an independent book. But I was like, more people need to know about it. You know, more people need to know about the philosophy. You can't just take it up on myself. You know, I was like, well, you know, people don't want to know. You know, they don't want to be educated. They don't want to know how to have money. They're just satisfied with where they at. You know.
Well, I think, but you know, and I'm glad that we're talking about this, right? And you speak of money. I think when we look at eras, right? We look at the era when you came up. You know, it was a process. You know what I mean? But there was a lot of camaraderie there. You know what I mean? When getting money, you know, of course we all individualized, but we had a concept of how and what we wanted. We had goals to reach. You know. In this day and time, man, the blueprint. This could be that blueprint, and I'm not saying the instant gratification type of monies or what have you, but the fact of teaching your monies to make sense. You know, so you know, listening to you and just saying.
Well, there really is no instant gratification in getting money.
Well, I'm saying in that fast world, you know what I mean?
Well,
it's a process, yeah.
Not even in the fast world. So many people get that twisted as well. People think, you know, selling drugs is easy money, fast money, and it's not at all. Now, it's fast money if you got a homie that's went out and did all the work. And then he brings you in one day and say, hey, come on and get down with me. And he's already done all the work and it's rolling already, and you walk in and it's already popping and cracking. But he gave that to you. You didn't develop that. You didn't set it up. You walked into an already situation. It would almost be the same thing if the owner of Amazon, you know, saw you walking down the street one day and he's like, come on, man, I want you to come in and go into Amazon with me. Instant gratification, because you really didn't do no work. But in life, there's really no such thing as instant gratification.
And I agree. I say it in the sense that the process of a 9 to 5, right? That's even a process. You know what I mean? It's not instant gratification, but you know what? People, you go into a situation, you sign applications and so on and so forth. You know what hustling, you know, I've done it. I've got the time for it and everything. You dig what I'm saying? I know that, you know, it was strategic. You know, I as you stated, I had to ground up. Right, you know, it was a process to get here and so on and so forth, and understand protocol as well. You know,
correct.
But I knew that I can go get something, and I can go out there and do what I do. You dig? As opposed, so I'm not literally saying it in a sense, but I'm just saying that, you know, it's a terminology, and I'm glad that you gave clarification, because we do use it loosely.
We do.
Yeah.
So many people say, "Oh, you make easy money," but selling drugs is anything but easy. You know what I'm saying? For all y'all who don't know, it's anything but easy. It's a tough business.
Right.
And my man say the only place that success comes before work is in the dictionary. Whew. So anytime you think that you're gonna be successful when you ain't did no work, you reading the dictionary.
You read, huh? Oh man, I say that was unbelievable. I like that. I wrote that quote. Make sure y'all tagline that in the numbers, man. But you know, and I'm glad that we actually giving a breakdown, because I think this might be my serious blueprint right here.
It's definitely one. It's definitely one that I would recommend for people to build off of, because I tried to analyze my life the best that I could, so that other people could look inside of me and see themselves, and then start to build themselves from that point.
So, you know, Ross, and I'm glad that we once again we giving clarity, right? Because, you know, typically I realize that a lot of the mindsets, right? You know, when you hear Rick Ross, right, individuals that came from an era where you clearly understand who you are, right? They would kind of get the ideology, right, that, you know, it's a book full of, right, him sort of highlighting, right, the fact that he works here, you know, as opposed to the concept of understanding that, listen, it's about structure. It's about,
no doubt,
right?
No doubt, no
so
doubt.
I'm glad that, you know, we're actually here talking about that, man. You know, because, you know, even coming in here, right, bro, I'm like, damn, man, how am I going to attack this situation, right? So as a man of standards, you know, and now being quote unquote, you know, they might say, yo, Terrell, you're a square right now, right? Because you've transitioned, right?
Right.
But in the same token, I'm saying, damn, how am I going to ask him specific questions, right? And not feel like that I'm borderline in, you know, the snitching aspect of it, right? Or, well, because usually when people question you, right, they get into the zone, they'll get into the lifestyle, right? Right? And that was then.
Right, right.
I'm here now, I'm transitioning. Day by day, I'm transitioning. I'm still trying to.
And most people don't know what snitching is anyway. You know, when I talk to most people, you know, I had some guys tell me that if a guy rapes an old lady, takes her money, and she goes to the police, that's snitching. I don't believe that's snitching. You know, I believe that snitching is if me and you go out and we go to commit a crime, and I get busted, and you get away, and I tell on you, that's snitching. I don't think that it's snitching if somebody go and you know, rapes a baby, and the baby tell on them, you know, and say, my uncle molested me. That ain't snitching. Right. No. Right. But here's the thing. Once again, even talking about this and receiving this information, you know, the errors of you looking at an older brother, right, to say, you know what, I'm in the streets, but this older brother is going to give me some light. He's going to shine. He's going to say, you know what, man, I know I'm here, but I don't think that you should be here, man. Easy, move slowly, so on and so forth. Right. So even the fact of defining what this means and what that means is totally out the door right now. You know what I mean? I remember coming up, they would break down specific things. You dig what I'm saying? And the motherfucker might be straight killing the streets. Right. And you looking at him, you saying, but you running with it. You like, yeah, I get it. He telling you, man, go to school. This shit ain't for you. Right. But he's pushing this thing and so on and so forth. And this day and time, there's no level, right? There's no. It's hard to find that individual, right? That will break down specifics. Right. See what I'm saying, bro? So even breaking that down, somebody might take this with social network, right? They might take that line, the snitching part of it, right, and see how. Man, I don't know about what fucking Rick Ross said, man, because, nah, man, he still snitched. Oh, but he raped the baby. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Somebody who can't defend themselves.
Right. But I'm just saying, I'm just glad that this, once again, this is about clarity. Everything is about clarity. So when you read this book, despite whatever he did, whatever you did, understand that there's still protocol, there's still structure. Look at me now.
No doubt, no doubt. With everything is protocol and structure, even though some people go outside the structure.
Right.
Some people don't stay inside the structure. They figure ways of getting outside of the structure, and usually when you do, that's when you have problems.
And your transition of coming home, man, how was that, man?
It wasn't easy, you know. We had some times, man, and matter of fact, my man Cody is here. I brought Cody with me. Cody, say what's up to everybody, man. Step over in front of the camera, man. Yeah. Come on, we got enough room. We'll make some room for Cody, man. That's my man.
Come on, we gonna get him.
Cody from he was up here, man. He had a magazine called Get Money.
Oh, yeah.
And me and Cody started writing each other right before I got out of prison. And he put me on the cover of his magazine.
I remember
and we started.
I had a joint up and y'all did a party. Man, we gonna go. Yeah.
Well, anyway, Cody did the article. The article did great. He sold all the magazines.
Right.
He don't have none of those magazines right now. All sold out. You know what I'm saying? Every time I'm on the cover, they all sell out. So y'all better try to get me on the cover if you want to sell out your magazines. But anyway, Cody came out to LA and he rode around with me, man, every day for like 6 months.
Wow.
And he told me he was writing a book, and we hadn't even talked about writing a book. But we going in meetings that you can't. These people don't take pictures.
Right.
They don't take pictures. You know, I think one dude, Jeff Bird, took a picture and he said, "Man, this picture can't go nowhere." You know. So anyway. Every day I see Cody, we driving, and Cody scratching in the pad. I said, "Man, what you writing?" He said, "Man, I've been documenting everything that's been happening." I said, "Oh, that's going to be our next book."
But let me ask you this. But Ross, let me ask you that. So now, even with that, right, that process of saying, you writing shit down? Like how, you know, because now, once again, you're in this transition, right?
No, but that's my man. See, when people feel like that, that's because they don't have confidence in their people. See, I already knew that he got love for me.
Right.
So I know he ain't gonna do nothing to hurt me. You understand?
Right.
And when you feel like that about people, you don't worry about what they do. When he told me that he was taking a note, because if he was doing something sneaky, he never would have told me.
Right.
And he didn't have to. He could say, "Oh man, I'm writing my diary. I'm doing whatever."
Right.
But he told me, and when it did, the idea popped in. Man, this is our next book. You know what I'm saying? And he named the book.
Yeah, right. It's called Freeway Rick. Because we riding around all around LA.
So, you know, you get an individual, come home, right? They left the game alone. And they're saying, this is the typical way for a hustler, right? That's all I know. Understand the concept, though. Yeah, I understand that's all you know, but the concept of hustling, right?
Yeah.
The concept that...
But I said that's all I knew. That's all I knew.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it's
that's normal people, right? But most people, when they're in prison, they don't really take that time. What I did when I was in prison, I was fortunate enough that somebody gave me Malcolm X's book, the one he did with Alex Haley. And I read that book, and I saw myself in Malcolm. I saw myself in Malcolm, and I started to say, man, I can do the same thing Malcolm did. I could be as great as Malcolm or even greater than Malcolm. So that's why mine was... That's all I knew and not all I know. You know, it's a difference.
Right, but okay, and that's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that, once again, even looking at the book and hearing the second book, right? This can be the typical blueprint. Once again, you hear this constantly. Dudes say, I'm going to give you an example. I came home, right? I understood the process of hustling, right?
Right.
But for me to say, you know what? I have to revamp, reprogram and say, okay, well, I know that I can't do specifics no more. You dig what I'm saying? Them folks still got their foot on my back, right?
No doubt, no doubt.
So I'm gonna take a pair of socks, right? I'm gonna invest in a sock company. I'm gonna go out there. The concept, right? The process of still hustling.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
No doubt, no doubt.
Now, when you rid yourself, right? When you rid yourself of those inner demons and them inner egos, you rid yourself of that ball and say, you know what, I'm going to get to a point. So now when your transition, when you come home, right, that process of building, everybody want to get at you, right? From the street hustler to the typical individual that just want to be around. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
You're saying, okay, what am I going to do? how was those obstacles? You know what I mean? How did you rid yourself of a lot of those demons? Because now the concept of being in prison is one thing, but the streets is a different thing.
Well, I really didn't let them hold me back. Cody, what did you see?
What I saw is a lot of people who were coming at Rick for a handout a lot of the times. And what Rick would do, for instance, a guy would say, okay, Rick, I need $100. Rick wouldn't give him $100. He'd say, look, I got some t-shirts, right? You get a 10-pack of t-shirts, right? It'll cost so-and-so dollars, but then you can make $200 off of that. But they wasn't thinking on that.
Right.
We'll pull up to the gas station, somebody come up and say, hey, you know what, give me $1. And Rick would think, it was like, okay, if I give this man $1, I'm gonna see him tomorrow asking for another $1. But I say, hey, you know what about this book? Did you read this? Oh, I don't want to read the book. So right then and there, he's trying to help people by letting them help themselves. And most people didn't catch on to it. Some people did, but most people didn't. And Rick is the type of person who'll sit back and analyze. And while he sit back and analyze what they, like I said, I'm sitting back and I'm analyzing, okay, this principle works universal for every person. There's no respect of person, but people want the easy way. And there's no way to go about it the easy way. Everybody wants instant gratification.
And those terminologies, how do we go back?
Exactly. And so that's what it's about. So
or what they perceive as instant gratification.
Or what they Right.
So if we could get people's minds tuned the right way, then they can learn how to get the things that they think that he has and the reason that they love him so much, and they can make those things happen for themselves. But like Rick said, it's no easy way to go about it. You gotta have a principle.
No, because I think it's hard sleeping on the concrete.
Literally.
So if you can make the sacrifice of sleeping on the concrete, then you should be able to make the sacrifice to get to that next level, to get off the concrete.